My name is Nafia, and I'm from Curacao, an island in the Caribbean Sea at approximately the northern coast of Venezuela. Today, I would like to talk a little bit on addictions. You have different types of addictions. Actually, the most known one, the most yes, the most known one. For example, addiction with alcohol, addiction with drugs, addiction with cigarettes, gambling. I think those are the most common addictions. Drugs, for example, especially drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, and gambling. Yes. I see addiction like something that more like a coping mechanism. You know that you you need the substance or the gambling to satisfy a certain feeling that you get at a certain moment, you know, like a rush that you need it, you need the thing, you need to do the thing, you need to do. Oh, you have sex addiction also. You need to do the thing to get the satisfaction for you to yeah, to cope with the feeling that you have inside. I can my example is myself, you know. I used to have addiction with food. That's another addiction. I think that's a very important one because we have a lot of obesity in the world, on my island and other places also, other countries also. Mine used to be addiction with food, and it was I comfort I comfort myself with food. So whenever I wasn't feeling quite happy with myself, I used to eat to like to to deal with the feeling, you know, to pacify the feeling that I had at that particular moment. I used diets and all of that for me to get rid of my weight, my overweight, and I didn't know that. Actually, I didn't know that overweight, food addiction, not all types of overweight, because I don't know. I know mine has to do with was addiction on food based on comfort. I used to comfort myself with food. So when I started my healing myself, and energetically, and I started paying attention to my feelings, the way I feel, the way when I have fear, was the cause of the fear. Whenever I used to fear, whenever like I used to feel not happy, I used to pay attention to that particular feeling and how I go about it. That's while my healing procedure, my energetic healing procedure that I started for myself because I needed it. I found that I needed to be happy. And while doing the healing, I noticed my relationship with food, that it had to do with comforting, and I went back into myself. I mean, in years, I went back to my youth and my youth years, and I realized that it that it had to do with that it had to do with, I used to do that I started doing it because I wasn't happy with myself, and I was in those days, whenever I wasn't happy with myself, I used to go to food. So I realized that when thinking about the past, asking myself, I just ask myself and then go back to my youth and then get the information. So I realized that I have to do it differently. That's like being conscious of the feeling that you have, and then go back where the root of that particular feeling. So that's what I did, and then I realized that it has to do with whenever I wasn't feeling well with myself, I wasn't feeling happy actually with myself, I used to use food as for comfort. So I started to, whenever I got the feeling, to do differently. I mean to accept the feeling that I had, and then change my way. Instead of reaching out for food, write down what I feel and choose another way of dealing with it. I mean, via meditation or prayer, choose another way of dealing with the emotions at of that particular moment. So, based on that, I think, okay, based on my experience, I think um, addictions has to do with trauma. I've read about it also. It's not only my feeling, my experience, but I've read about it also, that it has to do with trauma, and that we have to go back in the past, in our past, maybe our youth, and then to be able to deal with it. And then the only way that somebody can will do that is when the person is ready, because um whenever somebody has the money to for the gambling, to buy the food, for the cigarettes and the drugs and the shopping, because he's shopping also. I used to have it with shopping also. When you have the money to do all of that, you don't worry. You just go and and satisfy your addiction. But it's only when the money get less, or you start to pay more attention at your feelings, and then you'll realize that you're doing something. You're using something as a coping mechanism, so I think that's the only way that somebody can work on their addiction. It's only when they find that they're ready, then then they will look for help, and then we as a community, we can help them by being there, having the conversations, whenever the person wants it, have the conversation, support them, That's the only thing that we as a community can do. Support the person, and whenever the person is ready, they will ask you for help. And another thing also is, do not judge. Try your best not to judge. Let the person do their thing, be there for them. If you want to know how it's the best way to be there for the person, ask in prayers. That's what I do. Ask in prayers, the best way to be there for a person, the best way for you to help them. And then when the person is ready, they will ask for help. They will ask for help. They will, yes, they will ask you to maybe go to a meeting with them, or something in that area. They will, because, for example, I know of somebody, an acquaintance of mine told me this acquaintance worked at a casino as a security, and he told me that sometimes the family ask the casino get like a kind of a restraining order. Not restraining order, yes, for some, for a family not to enter the casino, or restraining order, kind of an order, a prohibition for the person not to enter the casino. But that's like a way to, from the outside, to prohibit the person from the outside to enter the casino. It's not from the inside. The person have have doesn't deal with their own feelings regarding the gambling. It's from the outside. That's like the prohibition is being regulated for the person not to enter the casino because he's spending all of his money. But that doesn't really help, because okay, it help it will help for a while, but as long as the person self doesn't realize that they have to work on the traumas that they have on the inside, that's the only way that they will, when they work on themselves, they will stop gambling, or at least find another way to deal with the feelings, the rush of gambling, and then for them to stop with the gambling eventually. But from the outside, you will be fighting with the person. Okay, maybe they will stop entering. Okay, they won't be able to enter that casino, but they might go to another casino. I don't know if you can do it like for all casinos. So it's a way. And I know of another example also, another a person that I knew, a friend of mine, that had lung cancer because he was smoking. It was the addiction to cigarettes, addiction to smoking. He smoked a lot, but while he was sick with cancer, getting treated for cancer, and he was like, he was bad. He wasn't well. He still wanted to smoke. He still wanted to smoke. It was actually, he was kind of dying, and he still wanted to smoke. You know, and they asked the doctor, and the doctor told them, okay, let he want to smoke, give him a cigarette. They gave him a cigarette. He was on oxygen. They gave him the cigarette. He smoked a little bit. He felt so ill, and then he stopped asking for cigarettes. So those two examples is to tell you, is a way to tell you that only when the person is ready, they will go for help. They will go for help. What you can do, or me too, is just pray for the person to be ready, for them to realize that for them to realize, to work on themselves, to be ready to get help. That's the only thing we can do, and be there for the person. Think about it, and then let me know what you think.